to make a classic pizza, you have to make a classic dough, and it's all about the dough. That's what makes a pizza so good.
You're quite a classic guy, aren't you? So that sounds good.
Classy or classic? I don't know, one of those two.
A little bit of both.
I'm going to make something a little bit different. I'm going to put a little bit of milk in my dough to start with, and I've got 100 mils of milk here that I'm going to warm up just a touch. I've got a little pot on here. I want to activate the yeast. That's the important thing. I want to get the yeast going so it starts to foam up, so when it hits the dough, it starts to make it rise and bubble and all the nice things happen to it.
How excited you are.
I love this. Pizza, and you can see behind me in the oven, I've already got the pizza stone in there.
I did see that. I'm excited about.
You know you're going to make nice pizza. So there's about a tablespoon of yeast in there, and I'm going to put about a teaspoon of sugar.
Okay.
I like putting a bit of sugar in there. It just gives the yeast something to feed off.
You know, it's important to remember that yeast is a culture, and the culture does need to eat something, so that's why it works better when it's got some flour or sugar or something of the like.
So I pour the milk in there, stir it around, get some of those lumps out of it, and I'll leave the spoon in there. It just takes a couple of minutes. It'll foam up, and that way the yeast is ready, it's activated. Now, in here I've got 500 grams of pizza flour, which is nice and strong because you want it to hold together. And what I'm going to do is get you to sift that all the way through, and I'm also going to put a good pinch of salt in, but I'm going to sneak the salt in around the side here. There we go. And I've also got some warm water here. I find by using warm water, it allows it to prove a lot faster, and it gets it going. You can use cold water if you want, but warm, it just gets it going. Or another thing you can do is put it on an electric blanket. I'll show you how to... This is what I do. I just tap it like this and it goes through. There we go. You need a lot of muscle with this one.
It just felt like it was shaking the baby a little bit too much. It felt a bit strange.
I was watching you do that thinking, oh, my goodness, I better give her a hand here. You always sift the flour. It makes it light and fluffy. Now, I'm just going to make a hole in the centre here, and I'm going to put about 200 mils of warm water straight into here. Make sure I've got the right amount. And what I'm going to get you to do, Zoe, is just stir that around.
I can do that.
And you can see it's just, the yeast is already starting to foam up just a little bit. I should let it sit there for, 5 to 10 minutes and let it really foam up, but this is going to happen really quickly. In goes the yeast. I'll just make sure I get all of that lovely yeast into the bowl there, so it's all starting to come alive.
You can really smell it, can't you, the yeast?
What I try and do is make it in the bowl, so you sort of get it together, and then once it gets tough like it is now, like quite hard, I just tip it onto the bench. So I'll grab that off you and just wipe down that spoon, and this is what I do. Just sort of start to put your hand in there and, work it together. You want to make sure all the flour and all the bits and pieces go into that dough. And you can feel it's a beautiful warm dough. I tip it all out, and this is where you knead it. What you want to do is stretch it out a little bit and make sure it's all mixed in together beautifully. I mix it around for a couple of minutes to make sure that it's all worked in there. Make sure I get every single little bit of this dough all the way in here. Doesn't take long at all. What do you think of that?
Let me have a little feel.
Nice and stretched?
It's quite stretched, it definitely is warm as well.
It is, it feels nice. Now what I'm going to do is just pop this straight back into the bowl there. A little bit of cling film on top. There we go. Now this is what I think a pizza station should look like, Zoe. Have a look at all this stuff.
My vegetarian didn't stack up, did it?
Well, it's nice, and I can understand what you were doing and what you were trying, but, if you're going to make a pizza, this is how I like to do it. Now, I've just let it rise, so you can smell it's come up. You've got that beautiful, strong, yeasty sort of flavour, and what I'll do now is cut that in half. I'm going to make a big, thick pizza, and I'm going to do it straight on my pizza board here. Bit of semolina.
Nice and soft, isn't it?
It is.
That dough.
Now, I always try and make a pizza with my fingers. Eat it with your fingers, you make it with your fingers. And I just tap it around with, just tap it around to the edges. I like a pizza to be a little bit sort of rustic, and I don't mind a little bit of thickness, but I've got a really, really good pizza stone in the oven, so that'll crisp it up so it's nice and firm.
Lovely.
Now, this is the fun part, and if you've got friends around and you've made your pizza bases up, this is where you can really sort of get creative. I've got some, I'll just sort of run through it. I've got some tomato passata here. You can use freshly chopped tomatoes. Not too much tomato on there, but I like to get it all the way to the edge.
This is definitely something you can get the kids involved in. It's so creative. It gets them using different ingredients, and you can sort of throw in a couple of ingredients that they might not use because it's pizza.
They probably don't want to put this hot salami on their pizza because not a lot of kids like that. I like a little bit of red onion on my pizza. Now, if I ever do get invited to your house, Zoe, this is a really good...
this is what you want, is it?
Well, it's sort of like me saying this is what I want on my pizza, exactly. Now, I've got some anchovy, or hairy fish, as some people like to call it. Sprinkle that around as well. And I've got some Gruyere cheese.
Yum.
I love Gruyere cheese.
I like Gruyere. Quite strong, really sort of robust flavours.
And I've also got a chili.
Yeah, I saw
What I want
that.
you to do with that chili is slice it in half from
Okay.
about there all the way down, and I'm going to put that in the middle of the pizza. Mozzarella cheese, you have to have some of this on. What I love about the mozzarella cheese is it goes really gooey and stringy. I'm going to put heaps on here. I've got this chili. I'm going to put this right in the middle here, just so everyone knows that this is a chili hot pizza.
Now, this pizza is not for the faint-hearted at all.
This is for serious aficionados, people who love their pizza, chili, salami, all the good things on here. Now, this has got to go in the oven. It's red hot. I'm just foaming at the mouth waiting to eat this. You know, Zoe, I think it's so good it should go into a pizza box. What do you think?
I know this is your kind of pizza. Look, I'm definitely going to try it. I like a little bit more of a vegetarian topping or just vegetables in general on mine. But I would never disrespect your pizza love.
I didn't hear a word you were saying. I was just busy chopping into this pizza. I love it with a bit of cheese on there. Here we go.
You know what? The base, you can really taste the yeast. It's fluffy. Wow, that salami's got a bit of a punch to it. Now, this is a boy pizza, but Adrian, you know, you're all man, darling. Definitely a pizza for you.
Well, I reckon we'll finish this off, and then Zoe, I've got something sweet for you. I think you'll like.